ETH hit a new all-time high today, reaching $2,800 this morning. And while it is outperforming Bitcoin, Kevin O'Leary said in a CNBC video yesterday that ETH will always be number two to Bitcoin. Now, he compared the two to gold and silver, and even said that ETH is like the drummer that just couldn't quite make the band. And so I want to throw this to Will. Will, what are your thoughts when you hear these comments coming out of the mouth of Kevin O'Leary?
Zach seems excited, so I want to hear his.
I just wanted to say this is A+ level trolling right here. That's all I wanted to say. A+ level trolling. This rules. Will, take it away.
Did you say that he said ETH is the drummer that wants to be in the band but can't? Is that what you said?
So he said that ETH is
Great
like
quote.
the drummer that couldn't just make the band for the Beatles. So that's not a direct quote, but that's basically what he said. Yeah.
Okay, Ringo. Rip. No, I think that's interesting itself. I mean, that conversation's been around since before Ethereum even launched. Like, can another token or blockchain take over where Bitcoin is? And historically, the answer has been no. There's been times where it's been kind of close. The flippening, as it's most popularly called, where the market cap of Ethereum overtakes that of Bitcoin, became the closest I ever believe it has been in 2017, where it became like within a few percentages of flippening Bitcoin. That was during the big scaling debate where Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash became a thing. And then since then, Bitcoin dominance, which is the market cap of Bitcoin against all other alternative currencies out there, has risen. And I think it reached a peak of almost 80% since then. And now it's dropped again. I think it's close to it's around 40% right now. But it's an interesting conversation. I think it kind of brings in two different ideas to play. So on one side, you have Bitcoin, which really is just kind of based on this idea of libertarian sound money and decentralization and kind of taking away that power from the state. Ethereum, on the other side, has aspects of decentralization, but it's more focused on the utility of the platform itself, and it has less guarantees of censorship resistance, though very, very strong guarantees nonetheless. So two different systems, and if Ether ever takes over Bitcoin is really just, I mean, it's an interesting conversation, but everyone's been speculating on it for so long. So like Zach said, I think this is just like excellent troll material.
Absolutely. And there are a couple of points, the essence of what he's saying is that Ethereum will always be second to Bitcoin, but he's also saying it will always be number two. So you can take that statement alone and say will something not pass Ethereum? There's a lot to unpack there. Litecoin used to be the silver to Bitcoin's gold. That's what everyone called it. When Ethereum, before it was launched, people were saying that this would become the platinum to Bitcoin's gold. And now people are saying, well, it's the silver and it's the number two. Things change drastically and this space moves fast. So we're going to have to see what happens. I think he's very confident for someone who's not really ingrained in the space to be making calls about what's always going to be. I definitely wouldn't have the confidence to make predictions about what's always going to be. But I think, I love what Ethereum is doing. I love the DeFi movement. I love that we're decentralizing all areas of trust, and Ethereum is kind of enabling that. So I'm excited to see what happens. I love them both. They're the best coin win. And Zach, what are you got there?
I'm just saying, why not both? I mean, there's this idea that it can be one or the other, and I think the metals comparison is actually interesting, right? It's gold, silver, whatever, titanium. There's rankings, but then there are other elements on the periodic table, right? So Bitcoin can be the gold. Ethereum can be the oil and facilitate a bunch of other different things across the internet that are actually pretty cool. It doesn't need to be one or the other, and sort of this maximalist strain of thinking, I think, is a little bit limiting in terms of how one can view what the industry can offer. So A+, strong trolling effort by the Shark Tank guy. He's in the business of having strong opinions and facilitating conversations like this, and I only hope that they are as erudite and insightful as this conversation has been so far. And I'm going to throw those fancy words up to Danny because I want to hear his take. What do you got, Danny?
I have a very strong association of Kevin O'Leary and Mr. Wonderful, his personality on Shark Tank. And it is just to go back to this idea of trolling. Everything he says is so laden with a little. His tongue is so thoroughly in his cheek that you can see it poking out the other side. So I think he's just trying to rile people up here. I don't think that he's really examined the Ethereum network and what its potential is, or what some people say its potential is. And so that is going to be limiting his thinking there. And why bring nuance to a conversation when you have a catchy headline? Like, it's always going to be number two. So I think that's what Mr. Wonderful is. He's sprinkling his magic in this debate.